This one goes out to your mom. It's a Twisted Love song called Crosswire.
Hey!
is a song called Two-Track Life. We wrote a bunch of songs after we did the second album and never recorded any of them, so this is one of those songs. So it's like a new old. Two-Track Life. All right. Okay, this one's off No Rest from the Wicked. It's called Terrorist Attack. And it goes like this.
of the car. Choose people die, kidnap children, folk go away. Little money won't be paid. Walking down the street, don't know who you're gonna meet. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now bang, introducing a butler. shooting the line down to the end. Don't ride too hell on my way to oblivion. Wow. Thought he was cool, studying and pack. Float out the bottom of pool, studying and pack. Fighting saddle, railroad crossing, studying and pack. Free fall without a chute, studying and pack. Whoa! 30 hours high school, studying and pack. Float out the bottom pool, studying and pack. Fighting saddle, railroad crossing, studying and pack. Free fall without a chute, studying and pack. Going up for a party, trucks swerving all over the road. Headlights a few times in front of you. Look out! Studying and pack. 7 pack, straight out the bottom pool, 7 pack. Fighting out really cost 7 pack. Free fall without a sheep, 7 pack. Drop in the first foot, 24 tons. Got to choose which way you're gonna die. Ride for death, or mine, 7 pack. Send it back, slow down the rock, we'll send it back. Fighting out really can't send it back. Free ball without a sheep, send it back. Drop in a building like 24 up. You gotta choose which way you're gonna die. Fight for death or mine, send it back. Back, bald and gray. Freaking out all the time, I know he's talking about how he's talking everyone else. He's getting to the band, he will burn friends band. Type of person cracks under pressure, changes from a quiet man into a psycho murderer. He's the type of person walks into McDonald's and blows 20 people away. Freaking out all the time, now he's doing hand just trying to kill himself up. In our quick box, he's so in his job, I just can't figure him out. Type of person cracks under pressure, changes from a quiet man into a psycho murderer. He's the type of person rocks into McDonald's and blows 20 people away. In the corner of his eye, and it could be up to you. Better watch out, could be me too. It's our little homage to the Canadian Subhumans in a DOA. It's called Fuck You. Oh! Cause weirdos, cause crazy. Say we're evil, say we're lazy. Say we're just violent kids. Kinda dumb, not too brave. We don't care what you say, fuck you. We don't care what you say, fuck you. Tell your friends that we're really sick. Short ass bags on a commie trip. And you should know cause you're so cool. Number one, nobody's flew up. We don't care what you say, fuck you. We don't care what you say, fuck you. Woo! Yeah! Fuck you! Oh! Yeah! Woo! We don't care what you say, fuck you! We don't care what you say, fuck you! Come on, everybody now jump right in. This one game that everybody's in. Don't care where you've been, don't care where you left. Time's running out, we're really gonna cook. We don't care what you say, fuck you! We don't care what you say, fuck you!
And fuck you too, Mom. Aren't you gonna skip? Come on, come on, come on, yeah! I know, you know, everybody's Gonzo! 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 Yeah! Gonzo! Everybody! Dude.
Introduce yourselves and tell us what you play in Sudden Impact.
Impact.
Well,
Steve.
You know,
Steve Milo, the
once
Major
upon a
Ranger.
time, bass playing in Sudden Impact years ago.
Well,
Scott, I'm the play the drums.
Mike, guitar.
My name's Reed. I play guitar as well.
My name's Johnny, and I play with myself.
And it's true.
It is true.
When did Sudden Impact form?
After Micro Edge.
84.
Yeah, around 84.
Okay, and how did the band get together? How did you decide to? How did you meet each other? What was the sort of
Who was hanging out?
hanging out?
We was hanging out.
Yeah, it was all the same as like with the Micro Edge guys. We're just a bunch of guys hanging out and digging fast music and getting a band together.
Yeah, so it was like basically going to shows and seeing each other, and then
Yeah.
seeing each other.
Something like that. Skateboarding, right? We knew Mitch from skating, Reed from skating. We known each other since we were little kids.
Oh, we didn't see each other for a long time. Then we were going to see shows, and I was like, "Oh, how you doing? I haven't seen you since
The way-
such and
yeah.
such skateboard park."
It's
Yeah,
weird.
it
The way we met was through a pair of Vans shoes and an Independent Trucks shirt, because back then, like, nobody had Vans. If you had Vans, you ordered them from California, kind of thing. So if you saw a guy with Vans, you approached him because you knew he was a skater.
Yeah,
And that's how we met those guys. I think at Dead Kennedys or something is where we met Boris and those guys the first time.
at the concert hall.
Yeah.
Okay, were you guys all from the same area, or just the Toronto scene?
Kind of, sort of.
Well, sort of. We were north. We were like, me and Steve were in Newmarket. Johnny was in Aurora. Mike was up there. No, Mike was down in the city, and Reed was in the city.
At the time?
But
Yeah,
we're
no, I lived in Aurora only for like a year. I was from the city.
Yeah,
That's
so-
I actually met all those guys way previous to me living in Aurora. We used to all sort of hang out. I mean, I started all that stuff you were saying with Micro Edge before about Record Peddler and all that stuff. So I started hanging out there when I was like 14, and I started working there when I was 15. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then I met Mike through that, and I was hanging out with the Chronic Submission guys a lot, and I played in this little goof band that we made for our high school when I lived in Aurora with Travis from the Sadies, and we just did like some Black Flag songs and Venom songs and stuff just to fuck with everybody in our school.
What
kind
were
of
you
thing.
called?
And it was called Brain Hammer after one of the Spinal Tap records.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we just did like a couple of original songs that were really bad and a couple of covers kind of thing, and then we used to just I hung out with Mike, and Mike had his brother Jim, and we were all kind of friends, and Scott, and I used to go and see Sudden Impact play all the time, and things weren't working out with the other singer, and I used to help them move gear and stuff. Actually, that was the only time I ever moved gear, because after I got in the band, I never did it again. But yeah, and then they just asked me one day if I wanted to come and try out, and I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I was all nervous, and just we went and did it, and I don't know, it just kept going for years after that.
Okay, Reed, were you in Microage at the time, or did Sudden Impact happen?
No, this was after.
Okay, so there
yeah.
wasn't like two bands going simultaneously or anything?
No.
The rest of you, were you in any bands previous other than Johnny's?
Yeah,
So
we
you
were
were-
in- yeah,
Mike
we
was in,
fooled
you were in
around.
quarantine, right?
Quarantine.
Oh, you were in
Were
quarantine.
you in?
Destruction.
Were you in like the
Okay.
surf or something?
The
Just
surf,
garage bands.
intense youth.
Never before, never again. It's one of those things.
Intense youth.
Woo! Did you were talking about setting up some shows up north? What can you tell us about that?
We just had a practice hall in Aurora that was underneath, right on Yonge Street. And we just, we were the first guys to have a show there, like the Innocent Bystanders. Played some gigs there. And
You gotta talk in the mic.
all right. So we just decided to put on some shows there. We started postering all over. We postered the hell out of the city, and we somehow dragged a bunch of Toronto kids up to see these shows.
So it was mostly kids from Toronto that came up to the
No, it
shows,
was
or-
mostly locals that didn't really have a clue, you know. And then I don't know, Hardcore
The
83
bands
came
and
out.
their
we were-
entourages.
Yeah,
You know.
What was that place called again?
That was called anything. It was just
under
a
the
prac-
Mr. Subs, right on Yonge Street or
It was
something.
by the Subs, wasn't it?
yeah, Blibber and the Rat Cars.
No,
was
great
played there.
hall. And it was a thrift store most recently. It's still there. It's still empty. Maybe we'll go back there one day. But
Yeah, a
so
lot
we
of-
brought up bands. We had Direct Action
That
up
would be
and Wrath
amazing
and
if-
Micro Edge and Youth and all
Yeah.
these things. And I mean, Newmarket. I mean, we didn't know anybody in Aurora. You weren't there then.
No.
It was just like I don't know.
It was close. It was convenient.
Yeah.
It was the hall.
But these crazy Micro Edge kids would come up on the subway just to practice all the way up there. That was so hard to find a place.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we had our only. You couldn't call it a scene because there's just a couple, people. But
How the hell would they get up there?
Go bus.
the old
Yeah.
Go Bus.
Go bus
Yeah,
and skateboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
You know,
skateboard.
if the whole deal with living up there is you'd get down to the city, no problem. But if the show was any good, you'd have to ditch halfway through. Like if the band was really good, you're going to miss the last Go Bus. You're going to hitchhike home on Young Street, which is, you're going to be up all night.
Or we'd just go to Finch and pass
Yeah,
out
or
on the park
yeah,
benches
sleep
and wait for
Sleep
the
in a
first bus in the
shelter or
morning.
whatever. I can remember one time I was friends with this band called Terminal Rage here, another punk band.
Yeah.
And nobody ever had any money, so we'd go up to Don Mills. They would jam before they would go and play, and then we would get on the streetcar with drums and amps and guitars and everything, move it down on the TTC.
Right.
Did it lots.
It's the better way.
Rolling amps from like Young Street down to Larry's Hideaway and stuff. Like just rolling them right down the street in a little
Crazy.
garage. Yeah,
That is crazy.
it was the only way. Nobody had a car.
What was the idea with the band when you first finally got together in a jam space and said, what do you want to sound like, kind of thing? Was there that kind of discussion that took place, or?
We wanted to be fast.
We wanted to sound like Venom.
Initially? Because the demo sounds a lot faster, and then as years progress, you guys got a lot heavier sounding.
I think it was sort of like just looking at everything was a bit of a progression, sort of based on musical abilities, also based on different styles of music that came out that went, wow, this is great. Like
Everybody had their influences, so it all sort of came together.
Yeah, I mean,
Whenever we
there's-
try and play a cover, it always sounds like Sudden Impact. It doesn't sound like it's
when you play, like when you hear records like, there's landmark records that sort of came out that sort of changed things drastically, like
Yeah.
Corrosion of Conformity, Animosity, like that was
Yeah.
a huge record that
For sure, yeah.
added that whole metal and punk mixture to the whole thing, and really, stuff like that. So when we picked up on, I don't know, I guess all kinds
Black
of different
Flag.
things. Yeah,
I
was
remember the
telling
first
Reed-
time Steve brought home Metallica Kill 'Em All. I hadn't heard it. They never even heard of them, and we couldn't believe it. We were just like, holy shit. Like,
We were at our jam the
amazing.
other night. I was talking with Reed about remembering going to play a show in Quebec City, and we were all messed up, roll out of this van at like whatever time it was to roll in this place, and we were cranking LL Cool J Radio, and that was like one of the first rap albums I had ever heard, and we all were totally into it, and all these like crazy punk northern Quebec people were all looking at us like, what the hell are you listening to?
Yeah, totally.
We just always really had a very diverse, musical experience, and I think it kind of all expanded and made us do whatever it is that we did.
But essentially, you guys were a crossover band.
Sort of.
not in the beginning.
Maybe at the beginning?
I wouldn't say not at the beginning.
No,
no.
I would agree. But later on, you kind of became known for.
Well, again,
Yeah, we
Johnny was
sta-
saying
yeah,
it
we-
evolves with new bands coming out and new sounds coming out.
The metal
And as the
started
changing.
crossover
Changed.
started
Changed.
catching on and
Yeah.
stuff.
We liked
like
it.
that.
And there was really like, you know, when you listen to a lot of stuff that was a lot more traditionally punk, like there's so much metal in it. Like you listen to, you know, Daryl Jennifer from the Bad Brains, like, you know, or Rocky George from Suicidals, like that's as metal as you can get, even though it's, you know, the early stuff, but it was more of a punk thing. It just kind of came out in different ways, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. What was the idea behind the name of the band? Like, you know, was it a Clint Eastwood reference, or was it like
Reed came up with it?
It was at the time. Say Steve and me talked about. I think it was at a turning point. We just had a name. We said songs are really short, and they're fast, and they're done and over with, and it's sudden, and that's makes an impact, and that was like. But most of the bands,
well,
at
it works
the time,
like that. It works like
had
that.
these two-word names, negative approach, or they always tag two things together to sort of cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Or you know, so I was, and I guess the movie was out at the time. It just seemed appropriate.
Okay.
There's no deep thought about it. It was just.
But the song kind of like the song "Sudden Impact" kind of expresses a bit like that, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're listening to the lyrics, and
Yeah. Next question, please.
okay. What was the first gig that you guys did
We were just talking. I think it was JFA at the Turning Point.
at the Turning Point?
At the first Toronto gig, yeah.
Do you know roughly what time that, like what year maybe, or
Oh, it was 84. No,
84?
I think Mitch had something to do with putting it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Oh,
made
yeah?
a connection or something like that. He made up the flyer. We went nuts again, postering, and just got it.
Did he do many shows?
No, and Joe must have been involved. I forget how that worked, but
Oh.
Sorry.
yeah, no, I remember going nuts. You go to every record store, you put flyers in between every third record and every
Yeah, I
all in
remember
town.
doing.
Like it
yeah.
just went nuts, and it worked, you know. Because JFA, nobody knew JFA up in Toronto. How many singles would have came into the Peddler? You know, they might have had 3 copies of that record or something like that. So it's all fully word of mouth, and they packed the Turning Point. It was a good gig.
And then, where did you start playing out after that? Like, was it mostly the Turning Point? Was there other places like the Upper Lip was around? I don't know. Where would you have played?
Played Larry's.
Larry's a lot.
Played
yeah.
in the Market.
Remember those
Played-
hardcore matinees? Where were they?
Yeah.
The Bridge, Ildico's, like there was everywhere.
Yeah, Ildico's.
Quack
That's
Tay.
later, though.
Elma Combo,
Silver Dollar.
Silver Dollar.
Okay. Did you do much touring? Did you play much out of town?
We played a lot in Montreal, Quebec. We always played Quebec. That was like
Yeah,
a real
Montreal, Quebec the
stronghold
most.
for us.
Mike,
You know, any little place we could go to for weekend shows, Kingston, London,
Yeah.
anywhere that was, you know, within reach of a weekend.
Oh, so you
couple
would play
shows.
London?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mike and
Windsor,
Scott, yeah.
Detroit,
You said something about
Rochester,
Rochester.
you
Buffalo.
know, places we could just.
Yeah, no big U.S. stuff. Just you know, cross-border towns. You'd head down to. We could hit Rochester.
We all kind of had jobs somewhat,
And,
so we had to work, and it was
sometimes.
we could get away for 3 or 4 days, and
And then you had to be back.
The longest we ever went was for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was
and
that?
was, and we went right out to St. John's. and
Okay.
Back. And
Now, how was that? Like, was there much of a scene then? Because, like, I've been talking to people from St. John's who said, you know, there was certainly a period where nothing was happening in St. John's, and it sounded like roughly around that era. But did you
they
you
were
play
good
anybody?
shows.
Or?
Yeah, they were
Yeah,
good shows.
well, I mean,
were
they
packed.
had brought DOA out there, and that was a big deal.
Okay.
Because that's a big leap from the days of DeSlime and all this stuff to
Did you play with the
hardcore
out there,
bands.
or?
No. They came out. They
No,
paved the way
earlier.
years before. So the Public Enemy guys, the
Did you play with Schizoid out there?
No, they were gone by then.
By
I think.
then?
Anyway,
Because
but
they
it was
later
all
came
that.
back out here.
Yeah,
and
and they
became
moved out
Dogcore,
here.
right?
So
Turned out to be all our roommates.
yeah. So you know, we just popped in for that. A couple shows, 2 shows there, big shows. Did a good job, and then you know they keep carried on
And you played the East Coast all the way out and then back, I guess?
as much as you can.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. Did you play with, like, maybe Neighborhood Watch out in New Brunswick?
Totally.
Or, yeah?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the Montreal gig. There was a story about Steve getting locked in the Fufun.
Oh, something always happened.
Hey,
You go
we
away
were-
for the weekend and somebody disappear.
We were playing a show with Fair Warning, I think it was, and you know, we used to party a fair bit at some points, and Steve got a little excessively drunk and went into a bathroom to
I fell asleep in the bleachers.
He fell asleep in a toilet.
Probably.
And then he
Toilet
woke up
stall.
in a toilet stall, and then he woke up and it was dark and he couldn't find the door to get out. And then when he finally did find the door to get out, it was locked and they couldn't get him out, and he never got out till the next day.
He set off the alarm or something, right?
Yeah, so I'm freaking out because I've
Found
been
a few
into eating
bottles of
chips
booze.
and checking out the bar and the records and all that stuff. Chips and booze. And having a not bad time, but then I thought, oh, they're going to open up. So the guy finally came, and so I said, okay, I got to put on yeah, I got locked in here. How the fuck could you do that? Putting on an aggressive front, and the guy said, oh, it happens all the time.
You just said fuck on the radio.
Really?
Are you allowed to say fuck on the radio?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it happened quite a bit at Fufun
Yeah, I guess.
because it was a bit like a fortress there with all the gates and stuff.
Yeah, it's got those rolling garage doors, man.
Yeah.
You know what that means in English?
What?
Fufun electric. Didn't it mean like the asshole's electric or something?
Yeah.
Electric bum or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
electric asshole or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That
tell
pretty
us-
much described it.
Pretty much. Tell us about. What was that? The show that appears on the new discography CD? Because there's like some live footage from live. That was a
No,
different show.
that was
I think
actually
that was with Failsafe, maybe.
that show that we did. I think that was the first or second show that I had ever sang with them.
Yeah,
I think the
you're right,
first
Johnny.
one we opened for Discharge when they went heavy metal at the
At the
RPM Club. which
RPM,
is,
yeah. I saw that show. Yeah.
That was. I think that was the first show that I did with Sudden.
That was.
And then that was like the next day. That
Oh.
live show was the second show.
Okay,
Yeah, it was all pretty bizarre.
On the new CD. Get the new CD. You can give
Well-
away some CDs, right?
we will.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the demo, the Freaked Out demo. First off, where did the name come from? Freaked Out.
Reed, what do
It
you
was
say?
one of the
It was a
songs.
song,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Scott wrote-
songs.
Scott wrote the
It's,
song about this guy that he worked with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That freaked him out.
It was the guy was just a psycho.
Okay.
It's just kind of all about a crazy man.
You
Where
don't
did?
know what you're doing at the time. It just happens, right? You just
Sure.
It's like
It's actually a very humorous song. It's like the in joke for the band. Where always,
You're not supposed
Johnny's
to have
been
to
changing
explain
the
this
words
shit 20
lately.
years later.
We've been having some fun with it.
Where did you record it?
Hacky Sonic.
That was another
That was
Acusonic tape
Yeah.
demo.
So was Brian involved with that?
Yeah.
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 Was he
Yep.
involved in with all your recordings?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, except for one little demo that we did in a jam studio for that video
For
that
a
we
video,
did.
yeah.
He didn't record that, but
What
we
video?
actually ended up going on his label. He ended up he never really had a label. Like he just sort of had that anarchy thing that he had going on, and then he made Diabolic Force, which was.
I was going to ask
actually the
about
start of
Diabolic
it.
Force. So was Diabolic Force like,
Diabolic Force first started with Sacrifice, the first one
Yeah.
they did, and then Slaughter, and then it kind of progressed from that, and then the albums.
Are all those releases on the Marquee label? Like,
Yeah.
it seems like all those
Started
bands, seem
Just,
to be.
I just think
Sacrifice.
Sacrifices are for sure. I don't know.
No, they got a brand new. I just got the email.
Yeah.
Slaughter box set. Looks
Yeah,
Nice.
I saw a
Pretty-
Slaughter box
pretty
set.
cool.
Yeah.
But they recorded. I think they did other recordings. Slaughter too. I'm not sure.
Is the Diabolic Force sort of connection part of this whole discography release?
Yes and no. I mean, we just sort of did it on. Somebody asked us. The guys from Sacrifice. I got an email from Joe Rico saying that this label in Brazil is putting out their stuff, and they seemed hyped on Toronto stuff, and they liked what they heard about us, and they wanted to put it out, and we were like, wow, somebody still cares 15 years later, let's go for it.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were just hoping to get a free trip to Brazil out of it or something. but
Not yet.
nah, we're still working on it.
Well, the second one's about to come out, so maybe
Yeah.
cross your fingers for that.
So buy a record and help us get to Brazil.
Is Gonzo? I wanted to go back to the first demo. Is Gonzo like a Ted Nugent cover, or is it a song about him, the Motor City
Yeah,
Man?
Gonzo.
It's a cover.
Well, yeah, Gonzo is a Ted Nugent song. They just changed all the words to make it more about being young and goofy and punk rock. And
Okay.
Steve's got ADD. Eh?
What about is there stories behind the songs? Like Steamy Los, Paint
Yeah.
Fumes, or Cat's Lives? What
They all have stories.
do they?
I think Scott
Care to
wrote,
share any?
Scott wrote a lot of those. Like Scott and his wife Michelle actually penned a bunch of those songs.
Yeah, some of the first stuff. But Mitch wrote those ones you just mentioned. I think was all Mitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
pretty much.
How many years between Freaked Out and No Rest for the Wicked? How long? What was the gap between that?
1.5.
2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when
Two.
Mike came in. They had another guitar player for a bit, James, and there's a couple of songs on the discography of the first one that we just did, and then Mike came in after that and did the. Well, you tell him, Mike.
And we recorded. Where did we record that?
In a house. It was in a house.
The guy's basement. Yeah, in North York. I remember that. $250.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In North York.
Yeah.
Do you know whereabouts?
I grew up in North York, and I could probably tell
Could
you.
probably drive
I could
us
probably
there.
walk by and nail the house, but I can't remember the street.
Yeah. I'm just wondering who it might have been or something. Was it a guy, like a punk guy, or was it like
No,
some-
it was this
No, it was
old
like a TV
engineer
commercial
guy,
or
and it
something.
was his studio in the basement. This was his hobby, and
And the price
Really?
was right.
Yeah,
price
sounds-
was right.
We just
and-
kept selling those cassettes, right? The freaked out cassettes. We'd get the money, and we were smart enough somehow. Reed was, or somebody was, to put the money back, saved up the money, buy more cassettes, sell the cassettes, take the money, buy more cassettes. The guys at the peddlers said, "Okay, you guys sell enough cassettes, you know."
We sold like 400, 500 tapes, I think,
Yeah.
and then it was just like, well,
They're
the
like,
next step was okay.
record
record.
something if we like it, maybe we'll put it out, and that's all that happened.
That's kind of what happened. Was there any other songs from that session that might not have been released, or was everything that you recorded on the LP?
Ooh,
I think that was everything. I think.
Yeah.
Could be some long lost thing.
It's all long lost.
My thoughts in listening to the demo and then listening to the LP is that you started getting into more sort of serious issues. Like it seemed like there was more sort of kind of happy-go-lucky themes on the first on the demo. On the record, there's things like there's a song about terrorist attack, and there's like "To Our Glorious Dead." So it sounds like an anti-war
Call
theme.
Mitch.
Was that the case? Was that like was the lyrical side also developing at the same time as the music started?
Yeah, it might. I don't think it was intentional though.
Okay.
Not for me. Anyways.
I think most
like,
of the songs, yeah. I just mean like, a lot of the songs you're talking about, I didn't really write, but knowing them intimately, I think that like a lot of it's when you actually sit down and read the lyrics and see what it's all about on some of them. I think you'd be surprised from the titles. There's kind of a lot of play on a lot of things, so. I think it's like a lot of it's just mostly personal stuff or like social, things in our own little world or our own little environment that we were sort of, you write what you see. So
Yeah, terrorist
We
attack,
weren't- we
though,
weren't
still
really-
holds true today. I think.
yeah, we weren't really
Even more.
heavy-handed and we weren't really super political or, or any kind of thing. We were basically all seemed to be anyway, do whatever you want, have some fun.
Well, I was going to ask you about the song "Terrorist Attack" actually, because it sort of has that kind of stuff would have a different meaning today. I would imagine. What was the original meaning of the song? Do you guys know?
Well, it was just I wrote it. It was just stuff that was going on in the news, and it was just stuff. I don't know.
That's where you get ideas for songs.
Yeah,
You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's really what it is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. The song "Bent" was like a song sort of claiming against
Come on,
straight
Scott,
edge.
do it.
Did you guys
Scott's
get?
got a meaning behind that one, but I don't
Well-
know if he's going to have the balls to tell it.
Well,
tonight.
I'm wondering if you guys, was it about not being straight edge? Did you guys get claimed to be straight edge because you were skaters?
No,
most
it
of the time,
wasn't.
or
No,
what
it was
that?
about a guy who was trying to be straight edge, and I guess
Which guy?
after a certain amount of time figured that wasn't for him, and that was it. I didn't even write it. Mitch wrote it.
Okay. Keep on trucking. Is it a pit anthem?
A what?
What's the song?
Pit anthem.
A pit anthem. Like, when I was listening to the song, when I would be in the pit and you guys would be playing that song, keep on pushing, I'm going further, get out of my way, I gotta get past. It's like you're
No,
kind
it's
of
just
like,
doing your own thing, and people are,
well, it could be
telling
taken,
you
yeah.
to do something else, and you don't know why you're doing it, but you can't stop doing it, so you just keep
Yeah,
on
it's-
trucking, doing your own thing. And I want what I don't need when I need not to want most makes no sense, but it's just you're driven, right? So it was kind of a driving
Didn't Jim write that?
No, it was
No, I think it was Mitch. Wasn't
Was
it?
it? I thought it was Jim wrote that one. He told me that before. I don't know if it's true or not.
What was the inspiration behind "To Our Glorious Dead"? I mean, it's a slogan on like the war memorial downtown.
that's
right?
it.
Remembrance
Mitch
Day.
wrote it, I
Yeah.
think.
So is it like an anti-war song or what?
Yeah, it's.
Death
it's-
direction
yeah.
to our glorious dead.
I think it's basically saying it's a waste of life. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Mitch wrote it. Have to ask him. But that's
Okay.
what I think. Yeah.
No rest for the wicked. It's a great catchphrase. It's used all the time by people. What's the
It's
song?
actually-
rest
it's
for the
actually
weekend?
turned.
Is it?
No rest for the wicked is the term.
Yeah.
But we twisted that.
Okay.
No rest from the wicked.
Oh, no rest from the wicked. Ah, okay. I've always been getting it wrong all these years. Okay. Why did Mitch leave the band?
He went
Next
to be an
question.
underwear model, didn't he?
No, he was getting pretty good at mountain biking racing. It was taking up a lot of weekends. We were jamming, and basically, he was into biking, and we were into jamming. We were starting to do pretty good, and I guess he wasn't showing up for practices, so we just got another singer.
Have you ever heard of like the Black Flag jam policy where it was just like endless jamming? Well, that's the way we were. We at least practiced 3 times a week for 2 hours at a time, minimum.
Yeah.
So if not 4 or 5, like we were just relentless with jamming. It was just endless. So
yeah, we were all jamming. It was funny too because Mitch, I guess no one had talked to him, and he actually came to practice one time, and Johnny was practicing with us.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah.
I think I'll go stand in the hallway for a minute.
You guys have some things to sort out.
Yeah,
but
pretty much.
Yeah.
So
I talk to Mitch all the time on email and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. There's no hard feelings or anything like that.
Yeah. And so, do you want to tell the story about how you got involved a bit more?
Well, I kind of did, I think, earlier. I mean, it was just, we were all part of the same kind of scene. We hung out, we went to shows together. Mike was living with Brian at the time, and we were hanging out a lot, and Mike's brother Jim, and met Scott, because it was like I just moved to Aurora, and all of a sudden there was other guys from, that I could hang out with up there and whatnot, and it just kind of evolved. And they asked me to do it, and I said yeah, and then I couldn't believe that they still wanted me to hang out. And then it lasted for whatever.
Do you want to tell the Sammy Hagar story about Mitch?
What?
What happened to Mitch? What happened to Mitch?
Well, he moved to California, and the rumor was he worked in Sammy Hagar's bike shop or something like that.
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar owned a bike
garage.
shop, and he worked there.
Oh, okay. Does he still work there now, or no?
No.
Okay, so there's I was going to ask you about the discographies. Actually, I think we've pretty much covered that stuff.
Yeah, let's play.
The first CD was No Rest from the Wicked. It's a collection of all the early stuff. Is that how it's set up? And the second one, you have a new one coming out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Freaked Out demo, the No Rest album. They did a recording with James O on guitar, which some of the songs weren't. It came from the pit. There was like 5 or 6 songs, but only 2 songs came from the pit. So the
three are on here.
Yeah. No, I don't.
2.
Yeah, I think there are 2 of them. I still think there's one missing. So
then there's live stuff. So it starts with Mitch, and then it ends with Johnny like raging his first show.
Yeah.
Second show.
Yeah, it was just that was sort of the thought process behind it, and then we're gonna sort of expand on
Yeah, it brings us along chronologically, really. Okay.
You want us to play now?
Almost.
Okay. Sorry.
I think that
We're stoked. We're excited. We want to play. So
when can you tell the next one is it called Split Personality? The next part of this, and it's part of this punk. Is it called Punk Classics series?
I think it kind of fits in that vein of it, but yeah.
Classic Core series. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Okay. And when is it expected out? That's the second one.
We just sort of finished putting the compilation together, and we have a little bit of artwork thing to do with it, and it should be probably in the spring. It'll be available.
Will it be the Split Personality art cover?
Yes. Pretty much. It'll be very similar. It'll be a take on it anyway, sort of like what we did with the No Rest stuff on the new one. It wasn't exactly the same, but it's pretty close. Same kind of thing.
It's Split Personality with what else is going to be on it?
Some live stuff that we had, and
from the Alma Combo.
Yeah. It's the album. It's the album and a live show where we play with Voivod at the Alma Combo.
And it says something about how our music changed because that first one's 32 songs. And it's like, I don't know, an hour or whatever. And this is 18 songs, and it's the same amount of time.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows our songs started to get a lot longer.
Yeah, as you developed as musicians and also as,
it's just a lot of the influence. I mean, I think everybody sort of developed as musicians because everybody was young when they started it, and then they got older and they learned how to play it. I mean, if you listen to a lot of that music, the 2-minute song went to a 3.5 or 4-minute song.
Totally, yeah. When did you guys break up?
Which time?
I imagine the last time.
I don't know.
Before 89?
This. No, it was we did a show
91 or
it was
something.
like 90 or 91 we played with us. We kind of had a few little weird versions of the band, and then I think it was around 91 we played with SNFU, and I think
we had Dallas from the Sadies play bass for a while. We had a guy Chris sing for a while. We had another guitar player. What was that guy's name?
He was in
Monster Voodoo Machine.
And something else. Yeah, he still plays.
Jason.
He's in another band right now too. I can't remember his name. The name of the band.
But this was kind of the core. So then
these 5 guys played together last in '89.
Yeah.
No, John, maybe not. But anyway.
Yeah, somewhere around that.
So then after a few years, we decided to get together. We'd go up north to my cottage for the weekend and jam and have a blast, and it was fun. So we started doing that. And
that's what we started calling the Fat, Bald, and Gray session, because it's pretty much where we're at. And he's got a cottage in Wasaga Beach, so we would just go up there and have fun and get drunk and roll around in the snow and play really loud music to nobody.
We did that in '99. We first realized everybody had computers from being computer phobic, don't know anything about that kind of stuff. All of a sudden, we were in touch, and it's like challenging. Yeah, let's play a show. Yeah, right. But if we're gonna do it, we're gonna go up to the cottage. We're gonna have a turkey. We're gonna eat and drink and like maniacs. And we did it every year.
Yeah,
since,
we planned meals and
it's great.
Party like rock stars.
Yeah,
like teenagers.
Fun.
And no one complained when you guys were playing up north or something?
No,
it's pretty dead up there.
I got a good story about up there. We went out on a midnight romp, walking around, and we came back, and Steve was extremely drunk and passed out, and me and Boris turned him into Cheeto Man. We stuffed Cheetos in every orifice of his body and took photos.
Yeah,
but that's not the same night we got stuck in the snowbank till like 5:30 in the morning, right?
We have lots of weird stories like that.
Yeah.
Another time, let's play.
Yeah, another time.
Okay, well, thanks very much for coming down tonight, and
Thanks
let's
for
do
having
this.
us.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.